Yo, what up, friends? It is your favorite host here back for UFC 290, our live MMA pre-show. You see the ball and buds. We here. You got the host. That's me, Omar Fonseca, a.k.a. the sports professor. Yes, I got a new name. I got a new... How you like that? Instead of street
sports professor.
Sports professor. Now it goes... And it doesn't matter about me because I'm not the star. The star of the show, your favorite UFC and combat sports insider, soon to be, by the way, once Ryan Clark, who is rumored to go to Undisputed, if that happens, Daniel Cormier, you need a new co-host. Clubber D is ready. The DC and CD show, I love it. Let's go. Clubber D, the Combat G. How are you doing?
That's right. You know, I'm living in Cormier. You know, we work well together because, for starters, you know, you don't like to change somebody. But first thing I tell him, look here, brother, we need to have that talk. Let's get that hairline up out of there. All right. We already know, we know you're kind of light up there. I've been there. I know how it feels. Okay. Go ahead and handle that. And then we could be, you know, the Ball brothers. You know what I'm saying? It's DC squares. You know, it is what it is. He's from Louisiana. My parents are from Louisiana. It's a match made in MMA heaven. So, you know, I got you. The after the fact king, I got you, Cormier. Okay, I got you, brother. I respect everything you've done. You are a Hall of Famer. But let's get that taken care of, brother. Let's get that going. I know you don't wear a do-rag either. Ain't no way. There's no way.
DC, I don't know. I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to let y'all work this out behind the scenes. But all I do know is we need a DC squared MMA show on ESPN. ESPN, holla at us. I'll get you the contact information for Clubber D, the Combat G.
Hey, y'all saving money. I'm with it. Y'all cut just about everybody. Y'all need some new blood, some new old blood. I'm with it.
Yo, we don't want that much. We'll take 100,000, right? 150, maybe.
Yeah, sure.
I ain't asking for a lot.
Yeah, I'm not asking for that. I'll go. You know, trust me, I'm dusty. I'll take anything.
A million between the two of us. We just
we'll take it easy.
ESPN, come holler at us. Anyways, let us stop joking around. We are here. Thank you, fans and friends, for joining us once again. Yes, Ball and Buds is back for UFC 290 International Fight Week. I know that we are not going to go too deep into that, but I do just want to have your thoughts on what International Fight Week means to the UFC.
It's big. It's kind of like their Comic-Con of MMA. You know what I'm saying? People come from all over. Check out the Hall of Fame wall that they have of their exhibit of all the fights and things of that nature. You got fighters that are there. Recently, you saw the video of John Jones and Izzy Alessandro dapping it up. You know, they squashed the beef. So all the fighters and legends are there to you know, take pictures and do autographs. So it's kind of like a autograph / Comic-Con thing for MMA people. So, and people from all over come around. I was going to go, but I sprained my big toe, so I can't make it on a plane. I can't fly for 14 days because I had messed my prosthetic toe up, and then I got nerve damage because I was two-stepping last week in San Antonio. But that's another story. But yeah, International Fight Week, it's pretty cool. I think every year, you know, if you're in Las Vegas, you want to travel to Vegas, you never need an excuse to go to Vegas. Just check it out.
Sir, if it's a prosthetic, how do you hurt it so many times?
Well, see, there's a thing called was it phantom limb or feeling or whatever like that. So I get that sometimes, you know, because I was circumcised 4 times before, and I still get the remnants. I feel what skin that's gone. You know what I'm saying? But that's another story. Your wife and your mother probably tell you about it. And just for all y'all, if you see that distilled water next to your nightstand, next to that random CPAP machine, that means I've been there. Don't touch my water, all right? I need it for my CPAP machine, okay? Ask your wife about it.
Speaking of CPAPs, I just want everybody to know out there that might have sleep apnea. You may have a problem if you feel like water is going in your mask. I found out that my humidity was too high. That was the problem the whole time. So I had to turn the humidity knob down, and now I've been sleeping a little better.
So you're using it? You're finally using it?
Well, it still sucks, but they're going to give me the mouthpiece thing, the mouth thing. They said I'm not good for Inspire. I went under endoscopy, and they said my throat closing isn't the problem. It's that my throat closing is the problem. It's not my tongue, so they can't do the Inspire.
Pause on that whole conversation, but I hear you. It's
wow.
Okay. Yeah.
Wow.
You're a little too in depth right there with the throat, and that's, you know what, fans, just let's keep it PG. All right.
Pause on my throat. Wow. Let's get into this.
Whoa, let's
Forget
not.
about
Let's
that.
not.
No,
Let's
not in here. No. Wow, this is going down in history as the most paused show ever.
Not even 5 minutes in.
Not even 5 seconds in. All right, you talked about the Hall of Fame, my brother. This is the weekend where they induct the Hall of Famers, and there are some big boys in this one.
Yeah.
You have Anderson. Wow, I don't know who Alderson is.
This is cousin.
Anderson Silva, Jose Aldo, and many more. So please tell me your thoughts on this Hall of Fame class.
Oh, that's a Brazilian package right there. You got Jose Aldo, you got Anderson Silva, who was the face of MMA for so long. His title reign was just ridiculous until John Jones beat it. And then you got Jose Aldo, who came in as the WEC champ, dominated because they didn't have a 145 weight class until they bought the WEC and then brought him over, him and Uriah Faber and a couple others, like Anthony Showtime Pettis, who's the 155 champ, and you got Benson Henderson, who's a champ at that level. But anyways, back to Jose Aldo. This man's a beast. I wish he would have got a rematch against Conor McGregor. I remember that fight. I was at our boy Peach's house, and I was like, yeah, I can't wait for this fight. I looked over, me and him high-fived, look over again, fight's over with. I said, you mother sucker. Like, why? Knocked out in 10 seconds. I hated it. But back to Jose, he's a beast. He's a legend, okay? And he's actually, I believe right now he's 2-0 or 3-0 in boxing. He started boxing now. So
whoa,
he fought Jeremy Stevens on the same card that Anthony Pettis fought Roy Jones Jr. And
wow.
he won that fight. I think he won again. So he would call out Mayweather, which sit your ass down. But he's not bad boxing, apparently. But yeah, he's definitely a Hall of Famer. And Anderson Silva, I mean, what can you say? I mean, that man brought so many people, so many eyes to the sports. They wanted to watch him fight. You never knew what type of highlight knockout he had. The second he got into UFC from Pride, he had his reputation from Pride, and then they bought Pride out. And his first fighting Chris Lieben, knocked him out. And then after your first fight in the UFC, he fights Rich Franklin for the belt. Breaks his nose with the Muay Thai clinch, knee to the nose, crooked, sideways. Fought him again, same thing happened. So he's been a champ since the second fight in the UFC. And then, he wiped out everybody. His feud with Chael Sonnen, amazing. I mean, Chael Sonnen had this man to the last round and lost by a submission, just out of nowhere. So it's just, this guy he's GOAT. He's GOAT level. You know what I'm saying? And I just.
So let me stop you right there real quick,
sir.
because they do think that he is the GOAT, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people thought that Anderson Silva was the GOAT for a long time before John Jones came along. He had a UFC record of 16 straight victories and second most title defenses between John Jones and Mighty Mouse.
Oh, Mighty Mouse is so good.
Yeah, so go ahead and continue. I just wanted to throw that in there and see kind of like what you thought about that.
Yeah, so the difference between John Jones and Anderson Silva, John Jones is a GOAT. Don't get me wrong. This man, that loss to Mark Hamill with the elbow strike, the only loss that he has is because it was a legal elbow strike, which is stupid because it came from a 12 o'clock position. You cannot go straight down with the elbow on a ground opponent, which makes no sense. That's John Jones' only loss. But other than that, the man's undefeated. Has some questionable fights. Don't get me wrong. Has some questionable fights. But the man is undefeated and cleaned out the light heavyweight division, moves up to heavyweight, you see what happens. So you can't deny his greatness. But if you ask anybody, who would you rather watch in a title fight in their prime, John Jones or Anderson Silva? Anderson Silva is going to be right there. You're going to say, I'll watch Anderson Silva. Because you're going to see something wild. He's going to do a kick, crazy box. He's going to do something crazy to win the fight. John Jones fights are good, but a wrestler versus striker's always going to win. You know what I'm saying? So that's my opinion.
So that's another point, right? Is that Anderson Silva was the flashy striker. He had the title for 2,457 days. He had the most finishes, 9 knockouts, and 10 knockdowns in his UFC title fights. So while John Jones is more of a wrestler, take you down, work you, try to get you tired, things like that. Silva's going for the knockout. So you think that okay.
Yeah, and look at it like this. When John Jones moved up, which took 3 years, to heavyweight, he got Cyril Gane out just like that. Boom. When Anderson Silva was cleaning out the 185 division, he got to fight Forrest Griffin at 205. Knocked him out like that. Like he moved around, did these numbers, boop, knocked him down, and then boop, knocked him out.
Griffin was tough too.
Oh yeah,
Griffin
Griffin, that's an ex-champion. I mean, and Griffin, that if you watch that knockout, it's hilarious because he fell down and his leg went up like he was doing a soccer kick, like when you fall down and do like one of those soccer kicks. I thought he was doing. There you go, just like that. I thought he was doing reverse Hulk Hogan. Like I thought he was doing the leg drop. I don't know if it was a V-sit and reach with the toes going up over your head, but he did that laying on his back. I didn't know a man could do that. Your leg was in the air. So if you look at that knockout for him moving up to John Jones moving up, Anderson's more exciting for the fans to watch. So that's why, got him that GOAT level. But it's hard to have one GOAT MMA because there's so many different weight classes and so many different people that impact the sport in different ways. So, but Anderson Silva, definitely, he's on Mount Rushmore. But
I am so upset you said V-sit and reach.
I need a caveat, though. He did get caught juicing. He did get caught. He said it was dick pills. Whatever. But
wait, can dick pills do that though? Did we find out if that's a thing?
I'm going to ask a couple of my friends' moms to see, because I have to figure out if that, because some of y'all could be y'all's dads. So, well, that's another story. We'll check that later. That's another story. You know what I'm saying? That's another story.
Gentlemen, if your mom has some dick pills next to the bed, you might want to make sure that Clubber D ain't been there.
If it's next to the CPAP machine and next to my distilled water, you might want to ask some questions. Just saying.
All right. So there was one more person within the Hall of Fame we didn't talk about because I know he is one of your favorites, so I wanted to save him.
Mm-hmm.
Donald the Cowboy Cerrone is getting inducted. How do you feel, my friend?
They just let anybody in. No, I'm joking. So this is my thing with Cowboy. Cowboy is an exciting fighter, but he's never won a belt. He's
How can you be in the Hall of Fame without a belt or a title? Well,
he's like a, how do I put this? I heard it. Hall of Famer. Come on, Barkley. Come on, please. How dare you?
I know.
This is the thing with Cowboy. He doesn't show up for big fights. Other fights he'll show up for, but like big fights when Conor McGregor starts them and other fighters starts them in title fights, he doesn't really show up. But if it's like a mid-card person or somebody on the cusp, he'll beat the shit out of them and he'll look good. He's like a Turo Gotti, Irish Mickey Ward, like one of those rough, rugged fighters. But
yeah, they'll throw a show.
Yeah, they'll do that, but they'll never. Like there's a boxer, lightweight boxer named Rocky Juarez back in the day. Very good boxer, but he was good. But when he fought great boxers, he got exposed. So Donald Cerrone is very good, but when he fights somebody another level up, but he's down to fight anybody. 155, 170. He's down to scrap. So I'll give him that. But it's just certain fights he kind of like folds, like the Nate Diaz fight. It's just Nate Diaz. It's just.
So is he in your Hall of Fame then?
No. He retired what, a year, 2 years ago?
He just retired. Like it wasn't even long ago. Like how is he even in the Hall of Fame?
If he was in Clubber D's Hall of Fame, you
got to wait the 5 years like baseball, right?
You have to wait 5 years, and then he'd be a 10-year, 8 to 9 year Hall of Famer. Because how's he in a Rampage? One of my favorite fighters isn't in. You know what I'm saying? Like, get out of here with that. It's just.
So you're saying he's like a Eddie Murray or a Dale Carter who gets in on the 10th and final bout.
I mean, he should get in, but just like he's 5 notches ahead of reporters getting in. Put it like that. 5 notches ahead. So he should get in. If a reporter takes 10 years, he should take 5 years to get in. Okay.
Wow.
Like, well, Cormier just said about Jim Miller, who's been fighting UFC forever, over 20 something fights, more than that. I'm just speculating, but Cormier said just because you have longevity and no titles does not mean you automatically get in, and he has a point. It's cool what you fought UFC all this time, but what has your impact been? So it's not a charity,
It's not. If you're not winning titles, you should not be in the Hall of Fame. I completely agree. Now, granted, there are team sports. As I was fucking with Clubber D on his favorite basketball player ever, I realized Charles Barkley is a
dare.
Hall of Famer.
How dare?
Okay, I would never even say that, but that's a team sport, right? Here we're talking about individuals, so it's a lot more on your accomplishments. And if you don't win a title within 20 years, Jim Miller, I'm sorry, you're not a Hall of Famer.
I mean, it's cool you've been in the UFC that long. I mean, but Cowboy, he brought fans. I'll give him the credit for that. He has
brought
a big
the flair.
Yeah. Being with Kid Rock and all these other people trying to do that whole, cowboy stuff. He could at his prime probably sell out arena, in Denver or whatever. So I'll give him that. Like Jorge Masvidal, is he a Hall of Famer? I mean, look at his career. He had a great career. I've always been a fan of him. He's down to fight anybody, but
never won a championship.
Never
beat anybody that great.
Exactly. He had a couple, the knee, and then the
knee. That was his most famous thing. Well, and Kimbo Slice, backyard fighting gave him that, like.
Nobody was checking for him when he was in Strike Force. I knew who he was when he fought Gilbert Melendez, the freaking El Nino. He lost to him, which was a good fight. But Jorge's a great fighter. He always would fight anybody. But, his impact, though, he's probably made more money than most champions,
So that is a perfect segue into our next topic, which is Robbie Lawler.
Yeah.
He is retiring tonight, his last fight, but it was also voted into the Hall of Fame that he had the best UFC fight ever versus, I think it's Rory
McDonald. Yeah, the Red King. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. I mean, Rory was, at the time, he was GSP's protege. I don't know if he's from Montreal, but he's from Canada. Because I went up there. We had some poutines one time back in 2011. That's another story. But so Rory, at that time, Rory was on top of the game. He was the man, okay? And Robbie, I believe Robbie was the champ at the time. And Ruthless Robbie, he's had a crazy career. Like when he was in the UFC, he got knocked out by Nick Diaz back in the day, and then left, went to Strike Force, was Strike Force champion. Had a crazy fight with Melvin Manoff when Melvin Manoff kicked his right leg off his body, but they came back with a knockout win. So Ruthless has fought everybody. I've always loved his fights. That fight with Rory was just ridiculous. Now, was it the best fight? You can put it up there. I mean, then it's like everything has a scale to me. You know what I mean? Like, you can't just say something's a 3, something's a 4. What's the difference from that 3 and that 3? There's a 3.5, 3.2, 4.1. Now, that fight, top to bottom, from first round to last, amazing. I mean, Rory's nose looked disgusting the way they stopped. It was technical knockout, I believe. Like it was crooked. He was breathing over here. Like if he had a CPAP on, it would be on this side. Like he'd be like a sideways snuffleupagus. He'd be one of those. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like his shit was wrecked. So I know he has a deviated septum. But now, when I think of great UFC fights, the one and only fight I say is great, and that's because it boosted the sport. This UFC would not be where it is now if it wasn't for this particular fight. Rest in peace, Stephan Bonner. But Bonner versus Forrest Griffin on the UFC fighting show, the finale, because the ratings went up, hundreds of thousands of people throughout each round. That started the whole craze of UFC, period. Without that fight, we would not be talking about UFC because they were bankrupt. They got the show on Spike TV back in the day. These were the last two, the winners. The last two of the show, and they're fighting in the championship. And that fight was so good, it boosted ratings during the fight from the start to the end. Dana White will even say it himself, without that fight, there is no UFC. So
wow. So for our fan base, can you go back and after you finish your thought, can you go back and explain like the details of how that happened?
Yeah.
After you finish your thought?
Yeah. So like for me, that fight to me is the number one fight in UFC history. But this fight, as far as already established and being a title fight, this is up there. This fight was, because it was back and forth. Both of them got hurt. I mentioned it earlier, but like if you ever watch Mickey Ward versus Arturo Gatti or blanking on his name, Chico. Okay, it's a boxing match. Dang, brother died. Diego Corrales versus the dude who fought Mayweather twice. The first fight he kind of won, but Castillo. Yeah. The first fight when Chico went down twice and it looked like it was over. Goosen, his trainer, was like ready to throw in the towel, and he came back and knocked Castillo out. Like this fight was that level type of just back and forth, back and forth. So
you would put it on your top 5 then, but
yeah,
it's not your number 1.
Yeah, because you can't have the chicken without the egg. Okay, you can't have the hoe without the pimp. You know what I'm saying? You got to have something first. All right. Yes, you got to have something first. You can't just do it. So without that Forrest Griffin fight, there would be nothing else. Forrest Griffin for Stephan Bonnar.
And so what was the setup to that? So you said they were going bankrupt?
Yeah, so UFC was going bankrupt. It was basically losing money. And Dana White and Fertitta, whatever the brothers when they owned it. Fertitta brothers. They got to deal with Spike. And basically that was like kind of like their last ditch effort to kind of grow the sport. And wow. I watched the show. I love that was the first Ultimate Fighter show. It had them on it. Second, it had Chris Lieben on it also, and Josh Koscheck. And second season had Rashad Evans because he won the heavyweight champ. He won the heavyweight one. But this one, the fight when they did the finale, when Stephan Bonnar, RIP, I think I mentioned that earlier, when he fought Forrest Griffin, the fight was so good. Like people were tuning in and telling their friends, like, hey, watch this fight. Because after the first round, second, and third round, the ratings was probably, I'm speculating, it could have been like maybe 400,000 people watching. By the end of the fight, they may have had close to 1 million people watching. So, because the fight was so good, it was back and forth nonstop. And
just people calling their friends like, yo, you better
old school. Like I was on MySpace, like, hey, y'all need to tune in. It was a bulletin. It was a bulletin. And if you didn't watch, I took you out of my top 10. I said, hey, if you ain't watching, you gotta get up out of here. All right. And I was on Mihenta and Black Planet telling some of the ladies out there, hey, if y'all want to get me, watch this fight. You know what I'm saying? My profile's still out there if y'all want to check me out, though. Just saying.
Not to be Mihenta and Black Planet.
Hey, hey, what's your name? Hey, como te llamo? Hey, I'm all over. I'm all over.
Online dating used to be so much easier when you didn't have to match with somebody and you could just message somebody. Like, it was great. Anyways, all right, cool. Well, glad to get your thoughts on that. The Hall of Fame is a big deal. Obviously, some people deserve to make it, others do not. Mm-hmm. We will get pound for pound and greatest fights later on another show from Clubber D. But that being said, let's go ahead and move into our 3-fight card, which, by the way, is sponsored by our new partnerships with Let's Talk Sports. Shout out DDH and the crew there, and as well Sideline Sports Network. That's Shout out JBLS and the crew over there. He's the one working on our UFC Fight Night passes. So shout out JBLS.
Fingers crossed.
That being said, let's go. Fingers crossed. Let's get into this fights. So we'll start with the obviously the third fight. We'll go up to the main event. The third fight is a very, very tough and always game. Robert Whittaker versus, I'm not even going to try. I'm going to let you say his name and carry it on.
Dirkus de Plessis, okay? De Plessis. Dirkus de Plessis. South African man. South African. So Whittaker, he's in a bad spot right now, Omar. He is in a tough spot because he's fought Izzy twice. He lost the belt and then tried to get his belt back. Knocked out the first time. Last fight went to decision. He spun the block. This man, ex-champion. He's beaten a lot of good names. He ran it back with Yoel Romero. He's beaten Derek Brunson, Darren Till. So he's Martin Vittori. He just lost Jared Cantonier. But Robert Whittaker, he's at that spot where like there's no one else really for him to fight but the champ. But do we want to see a part 3? Of course he does, but does everyone else want to see that? It's a Aussie fighting an Aussie, I believe. Yeah. Is he claims Australia now? But then you got Dirkus de Plessis, he beat Darren Till, he beat Derek Brunson, which fight he was losing in. But this guy, it's so funny because he's been talking so much junk about Kamaru Usman, Francis Ngannou, Israel Adesanya, basically saying, I'm a true African representing and training and living in Africa. And I'm like, bro, let's stop for a second. First of all, your family's from Denmark, okay? You're from South Africa. You guys say South Africa on purpose because you don't want to claim Africa, So let's just stop right there. All right. Second, don't shame first or second generation Africans who have moved from their country over to America or where other country where they want to go to because of their where they live, how they live, their treatment, and things of that nature. Don't act like your experience being a African is the same as theirs. So for my extended brothers and sisters, shut the hell up and sit down. Okay? Respectfully. Shut up. All right. Don't act like you're just not apartheid down in South Africa. Okay. Don't act like over Africans. No, you're South African. Shut up. All right. Shut up. So don't bring that up. But respectfully, you are a fighter. So I like what you do. Now he's a long fighter. He has power similar to Derek Brunson with the way he throws his strikes and things of that nature. I see the Brunson fight. The last fight that he fought was against Derek Brunson, and Brunson was putting things on him. He was losing a little bit. So Whitaker is a different type of fighter. He's a little chinny where he can get knocked out. So that is a possibility that can happen in this fight. Personally, I think if the UFC were writing scripts, they would say, you know what, we need Duplessis to win. That way, the Izzy versus him fight could be builded up. Where's it going to be at? Is it going to be in Africa? Is it going to be in Australia? You know, if they play the cards right, that's the fight that they will want. Now, Whitaker, if he wins, it's going to be probably Whitaker and Alexandre again. So, do they want to split? That's not even spinning a block. That's a NASCAR. That's a full lap.
So at this point, right, we're grasping for straws at contenders in this division. Is that
pretty
correct?
much? I mean, Jared Cantonier just beat Martin Vettori, and he's back in the top 5 also. So it's like,
it's kind of the same people just revolving in this division.
There you go. And it's tough. So I wouldn't mind seeing Duplessis to win, but I don't think he's going to beat Robert Whitaker. I just don't see it. I got Whitaker winning by 3rd round. You know what I'm saying? I think it's going to be a TKO, technical by strikes. You know, just I don't think he's going to knock him out, but I think he's going to knock him. The rest will just stop him. You know what I mean?
Club bangers.
Right.
All right. Club banger number 1, a 3rd round stoppage by Robert Whitaker over some guy's name that I'm not going to say. And I agree. Drickus. I agree. I think Robert Whitaker is a beast. And but I do agree that it's a very shallow division.
Yeah.
And when you have a shallow division with not a lot of fighters, you kind of just revolve the same fighters over and over. And eventually you're going to end up with an Amanda Nunes type of one-person division now I don't think that would happen with men, but I'm just saying, once you keep putting people through the ringer, like we get tired of seeing the same fighters all the time fighting each other. Now,
Agreed.
That's a Dana White problem and not our problem. So That being said, let's move on to one of your favorites, Brandon Da Baby Moreno versus another guy. I'm not going to say his name and let you go ahead and handle that. What do you think about this fight, my friend?
Well, you got Moreno going against Alexander Pantoja, and so if you break this fight down, on the feet, Moreno, hands down. This guy's evolved. This man fought Davison Figueiredo. I'm just calling him Figgy for short. He's fought him 4 times. Okay, the last fight was a doctor stoppage of an ass whooping. Okay,
and yes, it was.
I mean, that was like Jesus Christ. And the fight after that, he fought I'm drawing a blank. Francis Carr? No, Kai Kara something. He fought an Australian cat, knocked him out with liver punch. So he's riding off two knockouts. This guy he's if you watch him in his first Figgy fight, fighting Figueiredo, if you watch him from now, he evolves each fight. You know, his stand-up's gotten better.
They had 4 fights. Him and Davison Figueiredo had 4 fights.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That is correct. He's gotten better each fight. He's evolving as a fighter, and he's already said that he wants to fight. He wants to box before his career is over with. His stand-up is very good. Now, if you look at Pantoja, he's fought Moreno twice already. The last fight was he's won each time. I believe the first one, I don't know if it was amateur or not, but the last time they fought, I believe, was in 2018, and he won by unanimous decision.
Yep.
So Pantoja, he not afraid to scrap. He's not afraid to do stand up, and he'll stand up with you. But his game is on the. Oh, I almost had a pause. His game is on the ground, and he is a big time submission. He's a high level Brazilian BJJ practitioner. So if the fight goes to the ground, I'm sure Moreno can get out of what he has to do, but there is that possibility of getting choked out or submitted. But for this fight, the wave of Brandon Moreno, I'm going with Moreno. I'm saying around 4th round stoppage. It's gonna be stand up stoppage. He's gonna stop him on his feet.
Club bangers. 4th round stoppage for Brandon Moreno. By the way, as just to let the crowd know, our fans, it was the Ultimate Fighter Tournament of Champions in 2016 was what we were referring to.
There you go.
Either way, Pantoja, or however you say his name, has beat Moreno twice. And so you are saying now that Moreno, with all the experience, with all those fights with Figueiredo and all of that other stuff, everything he's been through within the past 5 years, that has built him up, that he is going to get his first victory over this guy.
That's right. It's hard to beat somebody 3 times. Okay, look at Anderson. Look at sorry, not Anderson Silva, but look at Rampage Jackson and Wanderlei Silva. You look at now Pereira and Izzy Adesanya. That was 3 times, but 2 of them was kickboxing. So but it's hard to beat somebody 3 times. It's hard, and the fact that Moreno is evolving, he's not the same fighter that he was way back in 2016 or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So he's not the same fighter. So he's evolved. Pantoja is a similar fighter, but the thing about him is he's reckless going stand up. Like, he's not afraid to get hit. He's not afraid to hit you once. Take 2 hits to give out one of his hits. So, but Moreno, well versed, striking has gotten so much better. I think that gives him the advantage, and he's just going to wear him down.
Problem is, you get knocked out when you're willing to get hit. That's the problem.
Melatonin sneaks up. Okay, before you know it, he's counting a sheep. You know what I'm saying? He's looking up. Yeah, he's a feather will come down. He'll like a feather will go up and down.
Like the cartoon feathers. I remember that. That's hilarious. Oh my god, I'm gonna laugh about that all night. All right, the main event, what they all came to see.
That's right.
First of all, let's give some backstory to this. Volkanovski is still, in some people's eyes, the pound for pound, but he fought Islam Makhachev a couple months ago, and Islam won a close but controversial decision. Honestly, I still think that Volkanovski won, but he is fighting Yair Rodríguez, who fought on that same card and won the interim belt in case Volkanovski won, which we talked about already. Yeah. My friend, what do you think about this and everything involved in this fight?
Well, Volkanovski, he trains down there in Australia with Izzy, he's been training with a lot of stand-up karate style. He's already noted that he's worried about Yair's style and kicks. If you look at Volkanovski, the way he throws his right hand, his jab, even his leg kicks, he leaves his right side open for either liver or a head kick. That's just something that a lot of people have seen. When he throws his kicks, even when he throws his jab, he does a long jab, all that's wide open when he brings his hand back. So Yair Rodríguez, this guy does flip kicks. When he does this flip kicks and spinning roundhouses, he does this like it's nothing, like a jab. So he loves using his feet. If you look at like when he fought BJ Penn, and when he fought Emmett his last fight, I mean, Jesus Christ, he's gotten rocked before, but this dude finds a way to win, and he's like a more advanced Showtime Pettis in his prime, because Showtime would do those weird kicks off the cage and things of that nature. You got like when he fought the Korean Zombie, this man, the last round, bent down, did an elbow back, and knocked him out. Like, I've never seen that before. Okay, Volkanovski, this guy's fought a who's who. He's cleaned out the division. Now he's fighting the young bloods, and he's beaten Max Holloway multiple times. He's beaten Ortiz. T-City beat him. So when he moved up to fight Islam, it was a close fight, but it could have gone. I gave it to Islam, but it is what it is. Volkanovski's pressure might cause a problem, but it might have him walking into something with Rodríguez.
So let me step back a second real quick before you keep going. Volkanovski, this is an unprecedented 4-year run where he has just, like you said, fought the cream of the crop, beat everybody's ass on the way to the top, became the pound for pound in a short amount of time, right? Yeah. And then
dare to be great, moved up.
Right. And, he took the fight. Again, controversial. It doesn't matter because, again, he's been beating people all the way up. Now, again, right, there is a common opponent here who you mentioned, Max Holloway. Volkanovski has beat him 3 times. Rodriguez lost. Yes. No, he beat him in I think it was the second round. My bad. Anyways, there is that dichotomy of the same person that they have fought. So tell me more about that.
So I think with that, Rodriguez, kind of like Brandon Moreno, he's evolved as a fighter. Like he wasn't the same fighter like that fought.
He did lose to Holloway, by the way. I was right. He did lose.
Yeah, he lost him. He also lost to Frankie Edgar that ruined his hype train also. And when fighters lose like that and they get really hyped up by the UFC or even in boxing, how do they respond? And he's responded to me like he's fixing his flaws. You know what I'm saying? And his last fight against Emmett, he looked phenomenal. Okay, so his fight against Korean Zombie, he looked great. So I got a weird feeling. I'm feeling it. I wish I had.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking? Are you saying what I think you're going to say?
I wish I had the mariachi band. I wish I had Juventud Guerrera. I wish I had El Dandy. I wish I had Volano 4 and 5. I wish I had La Parka. I wish I had Psychosis. I wish.
Let me get some Mexican music.
Please. I wish. Who else I wish I have? I said La Parka, El Dandy, Psychosis, Conan, Eddie Guerrero. Let's go with Rey Mysterio, Chavo Guerrero. You know what I'm saying? I had to say this. Now, I already said Brandon Moreno is one. Yair Rodríguez is from Mexico also. Orale! La viva la raza! I'm going Yair Rodríguez. It's going to be a Mexican sweep, co-main and main event. We're going to have a new champion. Volkanovski's already talking about moving up. He wants that rematch against Islam. He's already worried about the karate style. The after the fat king, if I'm wrong, don't worry about that. Your mom still likes me. I'm going with Yair Rodríguez. Okay? You got my music? No, you don't. But that's okay.
Fine. I don't got you.
I don't need a mariachi band. I am my own mariachi band, all right?
Why isn't this playing? Here we go. Hold on.
Representing. We drinking Modelo all night.
Club banger.
You damn Skippy.
What?
You damn Skippy.
No way. Y'all, are y'all hearing this? We are hearing one of the biggest upsets of all time. Yair Rodríguez to upset.
It's gonna be a knockout. It is gonna be in the second round. Out of nowhere. Out of nowhere. I feel it. I feel it. Now, the after the fact king take is gonna be Volkanovski, probably probably third, fourth round, grind him out, knock him out. But that's after the fact king. That's caveat. That's caveat.
That's also Professor's pick here.
That's a caveat with caviar on it. You know what I'm saying? Be a little fancy, but yeah, I'm gonna say that. Okay, but I'm going with Yair Rodríguez. Okay, him, Brandon Moreno. It's gonna be a Mexican sweep. All the Mexican fans gonna be happy. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to y'all. La viva la raza. Y'all, they need to do more about the Mexican fans. We have the big one since Cain Velasquez. But you know what I'm saying? It is what it is. I'm going with Team Mexico in this one. Let's do this.
Wow. Folks, you heard it here first. Don't go check any other channel. Ain't nobody predicting this but our own UFC and Combat Sports Insider, Clubber D, the Combat G. Conan, shout out. Clubber D wanted to shout you out and say, Viva la raza!
Orale. Keep it 100.
We keeping it 100. Wow. So let us recap our club bangers, folks. First of all, we have a Robert Whittaker second round. Was it third? Second or third? Sorry.
It was second, maybe. I'm not sure.
It was second.
We'll go with second.
Yeah, we'll go second. And then I guess I should have remembered that. Anyways, and then we got our Brandon Moreno. No, that was the second round. So it was third round Robert.
Yeah, there we go.
Second round Moreno. And now we got another second round. So the Mexicans, both the second round knockouts.
That's right.
Wow.
I'm feeling it. Rodriguez has a better chance because Volkanovski, I love Volkanovski. This man was 300 something pounds before, this guy was an ex-rugby player. And
I just can't believe that you're saying that this guy, who most people don't even know, is going to knock out who is maybe the pound for
Rodriguez
pound fighter in the world.
he's known. He's just not that high level. He's not a casual person would know who he is. But
yeah, that's what I meant.
He's not a celebrity. But Volkanovski is taking it very serious because he knows this guy's no joke. He knows that one kick, it's like Crow Cop, right kick. I might get it wrong, but left kick hospital, right kick cemetery. You know what I'm saying? His kicks are they ain't no joke. If you guys ever want to see a good stand-up K1 kickboxer in MMA, look up Mirko Crow Cop. He was one of my favorites that fought in Pride. Fought in UFC wasn't as good, but his Pride days were phenomenal. I mean, when he kicked you, it'd be ridiculous. And it reminds me of James Toney would be like, he would make fun of UFC and say, y'all be kicking like girls. It's such an old term, you get in a fight, somebody kick, you call him a girl.
James Toney was he was another creature. Oh man. Well, Ball and Buds fans, there you have it. You have Clubber D's picks. We have Whitaker, Moreno, and Rodriguez. Go ahead, go to FanDuel, go to DraftKings, go to whichever is your choice, MGM, all those good things, and go ahead and put your bets in. You better believe Clubber D is always the right one on the block. And if he's not, he is the what?
And look at, besides being after the fact king, I was right about Aljamain Sterling, the last prediction. I told y'all he was going to win. I got my shit right the last time. So look, get with a winner. All right. Look, I'm not talking about your wives. All right. But get with the winner. All right. Get with us. Listen to the goodness that we're putting out here. All right. Okay. When O asked me a question, he asked me about a fight. I'm not going to divert. I'm not going to think of other shit that's not. I'm going to give you the God's honest truth of what's going to happen. And if it doesn't happen, I'm the after the fact king. So don't listen to what I say all the time. All right. I'm always right.
Why would you? Go listen to your wife.
Go wear her clothes to bed. All right. Jesus.
All right, let's go ahead and move on to the mailbag. At that point, we've got a few mail entries here for Clubber D, a couple questions. Question number 1 from Put Your Dukes Up, nice username. Does Val Woodburn, who is 7-0, I guess, does he have a chance against who is one of the most hyped prospects ever, Bo Nickel?
So, Bo Nickel looks like Max Crosby's cousin. But he does. Omar, do me a favor. Look up the betting odds for Bo Nickel versus Val Venus. Was it Val Venus? What's his name?
Val Venus. Val Venus.
Whatever it is. Please look that betting.
Val Woodburn.
Please look up that the betting odds for me real quick.
All right. Let's see. All right. So we got 270 for. Let me go over Volkanovski's at 310. Rodriguez at 270. Let me move on down.
Yeah, exactly. This is history.
Clubber D, 2,500. Yes. 2,500 on the under. You have to spend $2,500 to make 100 betting on Bo Nickel. That means he is the absolute favorite of favorites.
Now, you heard the man. He just looked it up. And Bo Nickel, this is the history, the highest over ever. Now, I had a buddy that was in Vegas when Ronda Rousey fought Holly Holm, and I should have told him to bet because he was like 10 or 12 to 1. And I was right about the winner. So, if you want to make money, I'm going to say, send me $5,000 to bet for you for Val Venus to win. And then you're going to make a lot of money. You might not win, but you'll feel good about it. You probably will feel bad, but I'll feel good because I'm going to take that $5,000. I'm going to take $200 and just put it up for him to win, and I'm going to pocket the rest because you're an idiot. Bo Nickel is going to – this fight's not going to go one round. It's not even going to go one round. The guy is 7-0, but has no wrestling at all. So in order for him to win, Bo Nickel's had to say, you know what? I think I'm Mike Tyson today. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to stand up and box the whole time and randomly get knocked out. That's the only way Bo Nichols will take this L. But Bo Nickel all the way. This guy's he's the next big thing.
I've never seen a higher odds.
only odds I've seen like that is so that they might announce. We'll talk about that later in boxing. But
So wait, so this guy is he's like the Brooklyn Brawler getting put in against.
well, I mean, I would say Brooklyn Brawler because he's 7-0, but you don't know his opposition. I would say it's more of like give him 1, 2, 3 kid going against Razor Ramon.
1, 2, 3.
We've at least seen him a couple times. You know what I'm saying?
Biggest upset ever. Still the biggest wrestling upset ever. Still.
Whoa! Action Andretti against Chris Jericho. That's Peach's channel. Let's not do that.
I don't have time for you right now.
Hey, shout out to Mike Weeby. Shout out to Mike Weeby. I'm not going to bash him, okay? Because he shouted your boy out on when he was on with Flo and all them. He shouted me out. So shout out to Mike Weeby. I'll be nice to him.
Oh, he shouted me out.
I'll be
Okay,
I'll be nice today.
We got a little truce between the Ball and Buds.
Well, my White Sox suck, so I can't say that. Luis Robert Jr., how about that? That's the man.
Ugh. Yeah, that's all you got.
That's it. Yeah.
All right, so.
I know.
Wow. Oh, my goodness. All right, well, let's move on. We have another topic here. This is from, what? Stenosis who? Is the username, but I get it now. I see the email. Passed out was Virgil Ortiz when he fought a dude named Stenosis that I have never heard of in my life at 147, or should he move up? Is he going to fight next? Possibly the winner of Spence and Crawford.
Okay, this fight's been postponed. This will be a third time. Virgil Ortiz to me is the most groomed 147 contender. You got Boots Ennis who fights tonight also, but against Vila. But Virgil Ortiz, he's a Golden Boy fighter under Oscar De La Hoya. He's fought people that have power, people are slick movers. He's been groomed perfectly for the limelight. He's fighting Steonis, who's the WBA regular champion, basically the next person to fight Earl Spence for that belt. Now, this fight should happen about a year ago, but Blair Cobb, another welterweight, called Virgil Ortiz out for juicing and having issues. He had COVID real bad, and this weight cut gotten so bad to where his father had to resuscitate him, during I guess when the weigh-ins or whatever, a couple days before the fight. And what they're saying is that the protein that he's using or whatever is basically I'm not a doctor, but the protein's going into the bloodstream. And that's not good. It's supposed to break your stomach's supposed to break that down. So if it's risking your life to make weight, stop it. Okay. Just go ahead, cut this fight, move up to 154. I don't know how he, puts on 154, how that weight would be on him. But yeah, this man, Virgil Ortiz is like one of those young, good fighters. He's similar to Jaime Munguia and other young fighters ready to make that next step to championship status, but they've postponed this fight. This will be the third time. He can't make the weight no more. Your life is better, I would say. So damn all that weight cutting, go to 154, try your luck up there, because Charlo's about to fight Canelo anyway, so those belts will be up for grabs. So just move up. Leave 154.
I'm sorry, I don't care how much you love fighting. If you're willing to lose your little life to cut weight, you need to move up. I'm sorry, I don't got down for shit.
Because I had hold on, no. I had to cut weight last week because somebody's mom had called me and I was 3 pounds over because she had springs on her bed, like in the bedpost. They were kind of thin. They're like bamboo ish, and they would break. So I had to cut 4 to 5 pounds just to make sure I get up in there. But go ahead, my bad. I'm dusty. I don't care.
Yo, box springs. Whoever still has those old school box springs, I need you to stop being dusty and go get a new box spring. There are new box springs out there with new technology. You do not need old school springs in your actual box spring. That's just a term. That being said, let's move on to the final mailbag question. And this is actually a shot at you with the username. They took a shot at your Twitter profile. They say UFC over Pride all day, which your Twitter profile says Pride over UFC.
Okay.
So this person asks, on November 11th, just announced by Dana White, the huge John Jones versus Stipe Miocic, heavyweight fight. What are your thoughts? And obviously, you're not going to give a club banger yet, but what do you think about this fight?
Well, I give a pre-banger. One of my homies, Kevin, shout out to Kevin. I think him and his boys were talking about going up there from the Madison Square Garden here on the East Coast. I might go up there. We'll see what happens depending on the tickets. But Stipe hasn't fought since what?
It's been 2021.
He got knocked out.
Yep, it was September 21. It's like
he did a lean back from Francis Ngannou. Yeah,
sure did. Yep.
And I was at the Apex, a smaller cage, whatever, not a big crowd. He can wrestle, but he's not on the level of John Jones. John Jones, we have a little tiny taste of him fighting,
beating the shit out of Gane.
Yeah, Cyril Gane is just. I think he's one of those guys that fold under pressure in the big fights. I mean, I already said that I would never bet against John Jones again in my life.
You did say that.
It's still going to carry on. I'm not going to bet against him. I'll break down the fight later when we get closer, but just rest assured, I would never bet against John Jones ever. So,
is this the last heavyweight contender that he can fight? I don't see anyone else.
There's I'm probably doing his name wrong. Sergio Pavlovich. He knocked out Lewis. This guy's no joke. He's I think he come from Ryzen. It's just kind of like a dream / pride organization out in Japan. This guy's no joke. He knocks people out. He don't fuck around. He's up there also, but this is it's kind of like a legacy fight for John Jones. Like, okay, you were the champ for so long, you beat DC. Stipe Miocic is looked at as the best heavyweight of all time. My problem with Stipe Miocic is that he fights like he's a fucking PBC boxer. Sorry for cursing, but he fights like a PBC boxer once every so often. He's like the Earl Spence of the UFC.
2.5 years is a long layoff.
I know he's a firefighter. I know he does he does his thing, but
and John Jones still had his layoff too, though. So.
Him and Francis Ngannou were face to face at PFL, and he goes and John Jones is like, oh yeah, you work on your wrestling, and Francis is like, bro, I'll fight you anytime. I'm ready to fight you.
I want to know what happened in that conversation. Do you have more on what happened in that conversation?
Francis, he called him out. He was like, he said, well, I'm ready for you. John Jones like, I'm ready for you. Are you working on your wrestling? And Francis is like, I'm ready anytime. And he goes, we do this fight. And Francis goes, 3 years. It took you 3 years to move up to heavyweight. Why take so long? Okay.
And now you're talking to me after I left the
Francis left on, like, the way Francis left is, I put it like this. If the NFL did the same thing, if more people would do the same thing that Francis did, he just wants like insurance. He wants more piece of the pie, wants more money for the fighters, which they should get.
More. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Dana White, which I respect, he doesn't have those problems in boxing. Like, he's doing Aljamain Sterling wrong. He's like, all right, you just beat an Olympic gold medalist, Henry Cejudo. I got you fighting in August. Like, whoa, I can't have a break. I can't do nothing. When other fighters can do that, right. Islam hasn't fought since he beat Volkanovski. And he had an injury, so where's the interim championship belt? But you treat certain fighters, if you don't like them, a certain way, which I don't appreciate. But Dana White controls when you're fighting, when you're not fighting. Other organizations like Bellator, PFL, you can have other sponsors. You make money. They signed that deal with Venom, who makes their shorts, and that was like a $50 or $60 million deal. The fighters got no money from that. Like I think it was like a couple $100 million actually, and the fighters got no money from that stuff. So it's like, it is what it is. Francis is more for the fighters, and nothing will change the UFC unless the fighters all unionize together. But it's not going to happen. So,
yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think that this is a long time in the making. They've been calling for unions in these combat sports for a long time. But the problem is that if Dana White has all the money in the world to fight that, and he can, even if he isn't paying the fighters what they, should be paid, he still has enough money to keep that at bay. Now, do you think that is the right decision, or do you believe that a union is needed for these fights?
I think a union is needed because they're all independent contractors. Even Tito Ortiz's wife at the time, Jenna Jameson, called them out because she's like, for the women in my industry,
In her
in her
profession,
profession, she gets them insurance. These guys don't have health insurance. They got to pay for all that stuff. They get hurt, they got to pay for that. So,
wait a second. So you're telling me porn stars get insurance, but UFC fighters do not have
contractors, just like WWE or WWF, however you want to say it. They're wrestlers. I believe they're all independent contractors. So
they
pay for their own stuff. Yep. It is what it is. Just like that side's going to need some independent contractors soon because it's getting beat up over there. But it's one of those things where they can afford it probably, but and if you're
they could definitely afford it. They're just not paying for it.
And what are you going to do? Now, the only way things change, like in the NFL, they don't get guaranteed contracts, but any other sport does. When you get Patrick Mahomes,
so what about your boy?
Huh?
What about your boy Logan Paul?
Yeah, he's trying to do that. Like that's why he's an idiot, but I commend what he's doing. You can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You gotta. It's like politics and anything else. If someone says something good that you don't rock with, it's okay to say, okay, yeah, they got a point. They're good. I rock with that. So like Logan Paul, he wants to make insurance, things like that for fighters. Why not? Why not do that? And NFL, they don't have guaranteed contracts. Get Patrick Mahomes, get all these other top NFL people. They're not going to do it because they're good. But what about Johnny Come Lately who's on a practice squad or whatever? That's why the college did the NIL. I feel because these kids, college, I think now we're just veering off, but celebrities take on college and NIL. They needed that. They needed the NIL to save college because if I'm like the kid in Miami, he was making, I'm not sure the numbers, but he was a 14th ranked quarterback making like $700,000 a year. Probably would not have got drafted or maybe a late rounder, rookie free agent. Why am I going to leave college where I'm making this amount of money and go to pros and barely make any? I'm staying here, So
look at college basketball. When you look at Zach Ivey at Purdue, the 7-footer that is never going to do anything in the NBA, and also Ochabi from Kansas, the one who won Player of the Year. They both went back to college because they're going to make millions in NIL.
The chick from Iowa, like all these other players are like, why would I leave? And that's helping the school because there you go, Caitlin Clark. It's helping the school because the school's like, I can still market off you, and we still might contend the next few years. And they're like, all right, well, I'm gonna stay and make this money. Who knows? You could break your leg in training camp. You could tear your ACL. You could be Kajana Carter. You could be, the list goes on and on players who've gotten hurt prior to actually getting on the field or even getting on the field in 1 year wonder. So why not get that generational wealth when you're in college as much as you can, then go to the next level and see what happens? That's what I would say. Like this wanted like the OTE for basketball, the kids in prep schools, whatever, they're making so much money off them anyways. Might as well have the kids make some money, get them out of a bad situation, go to school, get that education, or just do whatever. Just get that money, get that structure, go to the next level. But fighters don't have that. It's like UFC, you're in, you make a certain amount. If you do well, you get rewarded. If you don't, if you're just a mid-carder, you probably don't make as much. Okay, you would if you're a low budget fighter. Not say low budget, but if you're a lower mid-carder prelim fighter, yeah, there you go. Right. If I'm a mid-carder or whatever fighter, I would want Johnny's Plumbing or Clubber D's hammock makers. I would want them to sponsor me so I can get some money on my shorts. But they don't do that anymore. Yeah, I make hammocks. So what? Yeah, look here, guys. I won a hammock making competition back in Hawaii back in 1983. Y'all don't know because y'all weren't alive then. But yeah, I used to make hammocks back in the day. Whatever.
I've seen plenty of hammock making competitions in my time.
Some of these women, they tree shakers. I had to put some reinforced steel.
Hammocks do not handle over 250 pounds, people. Stop it. Don't be on the beach at 400 pounds trying to sit in a hammock. All right, we don't handle that. Anyway. All right. So, but I understand exactly what you're saying. There needs to be more insurance for fighters if there's insurance in all of these other places. And these people are fighting for just their lives. basically at this point. There needs to be some more, and I don't want to call it a union, but that's basically pretty much what it comes down to, is having something set up to where fighters have a fund to where money can go into. And I'm sorry, Dana White, but you make tons of fucking money off these people day in and day out. And I don't know if your pay scale is right, because I don't know your pay scale, but all I know is there's a lot of people complaining out there, and a lot of people that put their life on the line for your program to go on. Now, I'm not going to sit here on my soapbox. All I'm going to say is I back up Clubber D, and I believe that you need to start paying your fighters insurance. That being said, Clubber D, what else do you have to say? Anything else on that?
I mean, that's pretty much it. Dana White, trust me, I respect what you do. You're the ultimate businessman.
Yeah,
you are the man.
Yeah,
and if I ever get to meet you, I would tell you the same thing to your face. And I'm a nobody. I'm dusty. But I'm just saying that's my personal opinion. Other than that, what were we talking about? The Stipe and John Jones?
Yep. I'll finish that up, and then we'll move into any other topics.
I'll do that breakdown later. But like I said, I'm never betting against John Jones again in my life. I'm sorry.
So we got a couple of comments on the YouTube channel. Flo from Bottom Line Sports, your boy. Man. He says that I missed a few comments. I don't think those pills improve performance in the ring. He meant dick pills from our previous conversation. Do you know if that actually does?
Well, you got to ask. Well, it depends what type of ring you're talking about, because the square circle is kind of like the squared bed. And I've used those pills time and time again to enhance my productivity. Sometimes when you go to the fight and you get hit with a haymaker, you might go down. You might ooze out your energy, but you need to regain it and stay there for the rest of the fight, if you know what I mean.
He also agrees with, I'm not even commenting. I'm not even commenting on that. I'm just letting that go. He also agrees on your Mexican sweep. Okay. He agrees that it will be a Mexican sweep. He says, lights out James Toney is his boy. And then there's a Ruben comment from my father.
Saw him at the gyms.
Says, shout out to Clubber D.
Saw him at the gym today. Saw him at the gym. He's on a way elliptical. And I was going to walk over, but he had already left. Saw him at the gym for sure.
That's what he says.
And I would say this: if Flo could go back to when you guys first talked about the NBA Finals, there should be a comment that says Clubber D, that says Nuggets in 5.
I remember that. Okay? I remember it.
That's another club banger.
Club banger called it right on point. Wow.
So before you go on, one more last thing for Flo. Orale, la viva la raza. Okay.
Wow, that was a really good rolling of your R's. That was better than I've ever done in my own life.
I've done it on a lot of women. They like it when I do it. That's another story. Let's not get to there.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Let's not go there. Let's back it on up. All right, let's finish this on off and get out of here and go watch some UFC. Before we go, my friend, do you have any other boxing or MMA topics? I know you had some things you want to
be continued. I'm going to break down the Charlo versus Canelo fight and how that came to happen. Is that how you say it? Whatever. I'll break that down when we do the Spence versus Crawford breakdown. And also,
speaking of, before you move on to also, what was your thoughts on the what was that last big fight we had that I asked you about? I forgot. Come on.
Haney?
Help me. It was just last couple weeks ago. Yeah, Haney. Yep. Haney and but I mean, thoughts on it?
The problem with people that don't understand boxing that much,
because people don't think that Haney's that great.
Because they don't know. Because Haney's not a flashy fighter. He breaks this kid. You gotta understand, Gervonta Davis and other fighters like that are great. They're cool. But at Haney's age, just like Shakur,
he's only 24
years old, undisputed 3 times. Okay. Already a Hall of Famer. Already. Okay. Lomachenko ducked him a couple years ago to fight Luke Campbell instead of fighting Haney, who's the number 1 for WBC. This fight could have happened a long time ago.
Did.
All right. Just because someone doesn't knock somebody out does not mean they're a good fighter. Just because I don't rap about money doesn't mean that I'm not a good rapper like KRS-One. Okay. You got to understand, boxing is a science. You guys aren't counting body shots, constant jabs, things of that nature. Haney did that in the first 6 rounds. Okay. What Lomachenko would do, which I like Lomachenko, just because you do a flurry for 5 to 10 seconds and land maybe one, that does not win you the round if someone's been jabbing you and going to the body
The
the
whole
whole
round.
round.
Right.
Sorry. And if Lomachenko would have won the 12, which he didn't do anything, I probably would have gave it to him. But people are saying robbery. Have you not seen Tim Bradley versus Manny Pacquiao? That's a robbery. Okay,
That was a robbery.
That, like, when they're like, oh yeah, well, Nelly and Boosie said, who the hell are they when they're talking about boxing? Who are they to say what's a robbery, what's not a robbery? I'm not gonna listen to them when it comes to boxing, you know? And it's just like, brothers are so weird. It's like there's no code with us. It's like, all right, well, I'll just say this, I'll say that, I'll say, stick together with some shit. We don't do that. It's just, but Haney won the fight. I gave the 12th round to him. I gave him the first 6. So Lomachenko's not done. You know, he's still the man. But
what do you think about Lomachenko coming back in the end of that fight, though? Because I thought that was pretty valiant.
He looked
I thought
good.
that proved that he's
that
good.
9th round. Lomachenko admitted it that he did not turn the gas on in the 12th. He laid back. He admitted this. So if he would have kept what he was doing the prior 3 rounds, he probably would have won. And it shows you how good he was, because Haney was telling to his dad, look, I don't know what to do. I'm trying everything. Nothing is working. Okay. He said that.
Oh,
it's
wow.
like, he's like, I'm not sure what to do. Like nothing's working right now. And that just shows you how good Lomachenko
So if
was.
you're confusing a 3-time, right,
Yeah.
if you're confusing an undisputed champion, you're doing something right.
And
especially after being laid off because he went to war.
Lomo went to war. Then he had another fight which he looked trash. I thought he lost, but they gave it to him. His fight before this one, after the war stuff, and Haney dared to be great. He went to Australia, took less money twice to fight George Kambosos. Okay, you see, he did that, and then they just sent Shakur Stevenson a contract, and Shakur's like, I'm not taking 25%. Young man. Haney just did that twice. So he has all the belts. You don't. And Haney is cutting. He should not be at 135. He had to weigh in 3 times before that fight to fight Lomachenko. He should be at 140 already. You got Teofimo, who beats Josh Taylor, who's ducking and now saying he wants to retire. Get out of here with that.
Yep. Yeah. So he's saying he wants
You don't
to
want to fight
retire.
Haney.
So what do we look? Right. So what are we looking at? Are we looking at Haney and Stevenson coming up? Or
I honestly want Haney. Me personally, this is Clubber D talking. Leave 135. He's outgrown it. He's done what he has to do. Move to 140. He's already in the works with WBC champion Regis Prograis from Louisiana, from New Orleans. His dad was at the fight, and Regis looked trash his last fight on DAZN. So they're already kind of talking. They wanted Teofimo and versus Haney, but Teofimo's like, oh, I might retire now. He made that comment about black fighters on ESPN with him not getting hyped. So, you know, it is what it is. Side by side, look at that. But
yeah, I don't know what happened. I don't know why that went away.
Oh, now this is
Hopefully
the final hour, but that's good. But yeah, so Haney can either stay there, which I don't think he should do. I think he should move up to 140 and just get the belts up there. You know, put the pressure on Gervonta Davis. Ryan Garcia wants to move to 140. He wants to fight Rolly Ramirez. You know, it's prime for a taking.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of fights out there that are primed to be had. I apologize, y'all out there. I did not realize that Clubber D was on the bottom screen. You've been watching his small face the whole time when he should have been the one blowing up, so I apologize. That being said, you see him now. He's here.
You see the Blatons in the back. I got a couple.
What else you got back there? I see some things
right here.
Up.
Shout out to my man Tijuana Jack. My man Marcus his rum is right there. So, you know, I got
Mr. Patterson got a rum.
It's pretty good too. It's pretty good.
Speaking of, I would like to shout out.
Oh wow, there you go.
Door. Yes, this is a
Dylan,
Bob Dylan whiskey, and I have been sipping on this for a few weeks. I've just been taking one little sip at a time.
I have the single or double barrel over there, which I would grab in a second, but I'm not going to do that. But it's really good. That's high level stuff right there. It's real good.
Hey y'all, look. Well, first of all, I guess I should ask. Do you have anything else?
Let's see. I will be touring. I'll be touring. There's a couple Curves gyms, the gyms that are for women. I'll be going to them from here down to Mississippi from now until August 15th, and then I'll be back up here. And then also, I'm a ex.
Wait, what are you doing
Huh?
there? What are you doing there?
I'm teaching Zumba.
Zumba.
I'll be teaching Zumba for all the ladies there, and then and then I'll be back. I'll be here though. We're gonna have some fun. But yeah,
Hey, y'all, check us out. Again, we're partnered with Let's Talk Sports and Sideline Sports Network. UFC Fight Night is coming to Nashville. We've put in some press passes with JBLS. Shout out my dude. And hopefully he will hook us up and we will be there live. That being said, the next time you will catch us here for a UFC 2 pay-per-view, will be UFC 291, which is going to be another complete banger. Wow. This
pissed.
card is...
I'm just pissed because that's the same day as Crawford versus Spence. They had the all day. Last time I did this was on my birthday last year when I turned, I'm not telling y'all, I turned 40, but we're having boxing, which is a shit card, but the main event is obviously Crawford versus Spence. But you got this UFC card on the same fucking day. Like, what the hell? What are y'all doing, man? Come on.
Good.
Jesus.
So what we're doing, we're going to move it up earlier that day. We're going to do Saturday. We'll announce the time. It's probably going to be around 2 or 3 p.m. Eastern, so we can get it out of the way early. But it's going to be a huge card. UFC 291, the main event is Dustin Poirier versus Justin Gaethje. And then you got the light heavyweight bout, AP Pereira versus Blachowicz. Then you got Blachowicz. Then you got the lightweight bout, Tony Ferguson versus Bobby Green. Like, this card just goes on.
It's bad.
So
it's something.
It's bad in a good way.
It's bad in a good way. I might talk to your offices and got sent the email, but we'll see, because we might do something earlier, because I want to break down the Canelo fight and how that happened.
Well, just be on the lookout, y'all. Check out our social media. Go to YouTube at Ball and Buds, BALLANDBUDS. You can check out Clubber D on Twitter, ClubberD_BNB. You can check me out at MVPSMB. It doesn't matter. Just look up Ball and Buds. Find us everywhere. We're coming up. Clubber D, the Combat G, will be with Daniel Cormier on ESPN soon, so I won't even have him anymore. I'm going to have to find another UFC co-host. Hopefully I'll be on SportsCenter soon or around the horn. You'll see me. Either way, we'll get Peach. We love you. Shout out Peach. Shout out Dale. Shout out all the 703 boys and girls. We love you. Ball and Buds is here, always for your sports and entertainment pleasure. We will see you at UFC 291. Again, please go to youtube.com at Ball and Buds to find our videos. We love you. Thank you for the support.
Tell your boy Flo to holler at me.
Holla, Flo.